Imagine this. You're a woman in the 1800s. Society says women can't handle money, can't invest, can't do business. You're supposed to get married, have kids, and let men manage everything. But you inherit some money, and you're absolutely brilliant with numbers. So you start investing in stocks, bonds, real estate, railroads. You're ruthless, disciplined, and phenomenally successful. You become so wealthy that banks beg you for loans. During financial panics when everyone else is broke, you have millions in cash. You bail out the city of New York. You become the wealthiest woman in America, maybe the wealthiest woman in the world. But people call you the Witch of Wall Street because you're so frugal that you wear the same black dress every day and eat cold oatmeal to save on heating costs. You're eccentric, difficult, and absolutely fascinating. Her name was Hetty Green, and she proved that women could master finance just as well as, or better than, men. She made over $100 million in the 1800s, which would be billions today. And she did it through discipline, patience, and refusing to follow the crowd. Today, Lily and I are diving into Hetty Green's incredible story and brainstorming a business idea inspired by her approach that you can start today. This is Tallie Talks. Let's go.
She's got a mind, she's got a spark, lighting up dreams from dawn to dark. Tallie Talks, yeah, she's the voice, asking the questions, making the choice. Young hustlers rising, stories to tell, big ideas where passions dwell. Pull up a chair, grab your seat, let's talk the hustle, let's feel the beat. Tallie Talks, yeah, Tallie Talks, turning whispers into walks, dreaming big, take the shot. This is the place where dreams get called. Tallie Talks, oh, Tallie Talks, Tallie Talks, ooh, yeah.
Hey everyone, welcome back to season 2 of Tallie Talks. I'm Tallie Pennysworth, and we are at episode 20. Can you believe it?
Last week, we talked about John D. Rockefeller, the oil baron who became the richest person in modern history through systematic thinking and then gave away half his fortune.
And we learned that systems create competitive advantage, power brings responsibility, and giving back shapes your legacy. So Lily, welcome back.
Thanks, Tallie. I'm really excited about today's episode because Hetty Green is one of the most underrated and fascinating entrepreneurs in history.
Right? Most people have never heard of her, but she was incredibly wealthy and successful at a time when women barely had any rights.
Exactly. And she was so frugal and eccentric that people thought she was crazy. But actually, her approach to money was incredibly smart.
Okay, quick question before we dive in. Are you a spender or a saver?
Definitely more of a saver. I like having money in the bank. It makes me feel secure. What about you?
I'm kind of in the middle. I save for big things I want, but I also like treating myself sometimes. But Hetty Green, she was an extreme saver.
Extremely extreme. Let's talk about how her frugality made her one of the richest women in the world. So Hetty Green was born Henrietta Howland Robinson in 1834 in New Bedford, Massachusetts. Her family was wealthy. They owned whaling ships and made a fortune from the whaling industry.
So she was born rich.
She was. But here's what's interesting. Hetty's father didn't believe in spoiling children. He made young Hetty read financial newspapers to him every day. By age 6, she was reading stock market reports and understanding business.
6 years old? That's wild.
Right? Most girls at that time were learning needlepoint and how to be proper ladies. Hetty was learning about investments and compound interest. Her father was training her to manage money.
So she got a financial education that almost no women received.
Exactly. And Hetty's mother died when she was young, so her father raised her. When Hetty was in her 20s, her father died and left her about $1 million, which is about $30 million today.
So she inherited a fortune.
She did. And then her aunt died and left Hetty another fortune. But here's where drama happens. Hetty expected to inherit everything from her aunt. Instead, the aunt left most of her money to charity.
Oh no. So Hetty didn't get as much as she expected?
Right, and Hetty was furious. She actually produced a will that she claimed was newer and gave her everything. She went to court to contest the original will.
Did she win?
No. The court said the will was a forgery. Hetty didn't go to jail, but she had to give up her claim, and this experience made Hetty even more paranoid and protective about money.
So that shaped how she handled money going forward.
Absolutely. Hetty married a wealthy man named Edward Green in 1867, but she made him sign a prenuptial agreement, super unusual for that time, saying their finances would stay completely separate. She was protecting her wealth.
Okay, so Hetty has inherited wealth, and she's married. How does she become the richest woman in America?
Through investing, and she was brilliant at it. Hetty's strategy was simple but incredibly disciplined. Buy low, sell high, be patient, don't follow the crowd, and always have cash ready for opportunities.
That sounds like basic investing advice.
It is, but Hetty actually followed it, which most people don't. During financial panics, when stock markets crashed and everyone was panicking, Hetty would calmly buy stocks and real estate at rock-bottom prices because she always had cash available.
So when everyone else was selling in fear, she was buying.
Exactly. Hetty invested in railroads, real estate in Chicago and New York, government bonds, and mortgages. She was incredibly diversified, and she studied every investment obsessively, reading financial reports, studying properties, analyzing risks.
She did her homework.
Always. Hetty never invested on tips or hunches. She only invested when she understood the opportunity completely. And she was patient. She'd hold investments for years, waiting for them to appreciate.
So she was a long-term investor.
Very long-term. And here's what made Hetty legendary. During the panic of 1907, when banks were failing and the economy was collapsing, Hetty had so much cash that the city of New York borrowed $1.1 million from her to stay solvent. The city borrowed from Hetty Green.
Wait, she bailed out New York City?
She did? That's how wealthy and liquid she was. While everyone else was scrambling, Hetty had cash reserves that even the government needed.
Okay, so how wealthy did Hetty actually become?
When Hetty died in 1916, she was worth about $100 to $200 million, which is roughly $2 to $5 billion in today's dollars. She was the wealthiest woman in America, possibly the world.
That's incredible. But I've heard she was also super cheap.
Oh, extremely. And this is where Hetty's story gets really interesting. She was so frugal that people thought she was insane. She wore the same plain black dress every day, literally the same dress for years. She ate cold oatmeal because heating it would cost money.
Wait, she was worth millions but wouldn't heat her food?
Right. She lived in cheap apartments instead of mansions. She rode public streetcars instead of hiring carriages. One famous story says that when her son injured his leg, Hetty tried to get him treated at a free clinic for the poor rather than paying for a private doctor.
Oh no, did the son recover?
Eventually, but the leg had to be amputated, and people blamed Hetty's cheapness for not getting him proper treatment immediately. Stories like this earned her the nickname the Witch of Wall Street.
That's so sad. So her extreme frugality actually hurt her family.
It did. And here's the thing. Hetty's frugality wasn't just about money. It was about control and fear. She was terrified of losing her wealth, terrified of being cheated, terrified of being vulnerable. So she hoarded every penny.
So the frugality was more about fear than about strategy.
Exactly. And it made her lonely. People thought she was mean and crazy. She had almost no friends. When she died, her children inherited her fortune, and they spent it more freely than she ever did. Point. So what's Hetty Green's legacy? On one hand, she was an incredibly successful investor. She proved that women could master finance and business at a time when women couldn't even vote. She built enormous wealth through discipline, patience, and contrarian investing.
So she broke barriers for women.
She did. But on the other hand, her extreme frugality made her miserable and damaged her relationships. She was wealthy but not happy. And that raises an important question. What's the point of wealth if you never enjoy it or use it to help others?
That's such a good point. She had all this money but never used it to make her life or anyone else's life better.
Right. Compare her to Rockefeller, who gave away half his fortune, or Estee Lauder, who enjoyed her success, or Oprah, who uses her wealth to empower others. Hetty just hoarded.
So wealth without purpose is kind of empty.
Exactly. But we can still learn from Hetty's investing discipline. Living below your means, being patient, not following the crowd, always keeping cash reserves. Those are smart principles. We just don't need to take them to the extreme she did.
Quick reminder, if you're loving these stories about fascinating historical figures, you need to check out Blueprints of Power, the podcast my co-host Lily does with Jack and Charlie. They explore the greatest empires in history with humor and insight. Did you know the Byzantine Empire preserved ancient Greek and Roman knowledge for 1,000 years and was crucial to the Renaissance? The entire first season is on YouTube right now. Go subscribe, watch all the episodes, and let them know Tallie sent you. That's Blueprints of Power on YouTube. You're going to love it. All right, we're back. Lily, what's the big lesson from Hetty Green's story?
The lesson is financial discipline and patience create wealth. Hetty lived below her means, saved aggressively, invested wisely, and was patient. Those principles work. But here's the other lesson. Don't confuse frugality with fear. Hetty's extreme frugality came from fear and control, not strategy. Healthy frugality means being smart with money. Unhealthy frugality means hoarding and never enjoying life.
So it's like, be disciplined, but not obsessed.
Exactly. And here's the third lesson. Wealth without purpose is hollow. Hetty had enormous wealth but didn't use it to create joy, help others, or build relationships. Money is a tool, not the goal. What matters is what you do with it.
I love that. So, financial discipline and patience create wealth. Don't confuse frugality with fear. Be smart, but not obsessed. And wealth without purpose is hollow. Money is a tool, not the goal.
Perfect.
All right, time for the kid business brainstorm. What business can kids start inspired by Hetty Green?
Okay, so Hetty succeeded through smart investing and financial discipline. Obviously, kids can't invest in stocks yet, but what if kids started a financial literacy coaching business?
Ooh, I love this. So kids teaching other kids, or even adults, about money?
Exactly. There's a huge need for financial literacy education, and kids who understand money principles can teach them to others. You become like a money coach or tutor.
Give me examples of what you teach.
So you could teach younger kids the difference between needs and wants, how to save allowance toward a goal, basic budgeting with envelopes or jars, the concept of compound interest using simple examples, how to track spending in a notebook.
That's great. Or for peers your own age, how to budget money from birthdays or jobs, smart spending versus impulse buying, comparing prices before purchasing, understanding credit and debt basics, the power of saving even small amounts consistently.
Yes, or even for adults, helping parents teach their kids about money, creating simple family budgeting systems, setting up savings challenges, explaining investment basics in plain language, organizing financial documents, and tracking.
And you could offer different formats, like one-on-one coaching sessions, small group workshops, family financial planning sessions, or even create educational content, workbooks, videos, or guides that people can buy.
Exactly. And here's what makes this powerful. You're teaching principles you're actually using yourself. You're not some distant expert. You're a peer sharing what works.
So how would you actually start this business?
First, master the basics yourself. Read books about money for kids, like The Richest Man in Babylon or Rich Dad, Poor Dad for teens. Understand foundational concepts like budgeting, saving, compound interest, and smart spending.
Then practice on yourself. Create your own budget, track your spending for a month, set a savings goal, and achieve it. Become the proof of concept. Show that these principles work.
Exactly. Then offer your first sessions for free to friends or family. Say, I'm learning about financial literacy. Can I teach you what I've learned and help you create a budget? Get practice and testimonials.
And create simple tools and worksheets, budget templates, savings goal trackers, spending journals. Make the learning practical and hands-on, not just theoretical.
Yes. And here's Hetty's key principle. Teach people to live below their means and save the difference. That's the foundation of wealth. Even if someone makes minimum wage, if they consistently save 10 to 20% of their income, they'll build wealth over time.
And what would kids learn from this business?
Financial literacy, obviously, but also teaching and coaching skills, communication, creating educational materials, understanding different learning styles, and public speaking if you do workshops. Plus, you're learning that teaching something is the best way to master it yourself.
And you're providing such a valuable service. Schools barely teach financial literacy, so you're filling a real gap.
Exactly. And you could partner with schools or libraries to offer free financial literacy workshops. That builds your reputation and your community impact.
And how would you charge for this?
You could do one-on-one coaching at $20 to $30 per hour. Family financial literacy sessions at $50 to $75. Group workshops at $10 to $15 per person. And sell downloadable resources, budget templates, financial literacy workbooks at $5 to $20.
And you could create age-specific programs, like money basics for 8 to 12-year-olds, or financial independence for teens, or teaching your kids about money for parents.
Perfect. And remember Hetty's lesson, don't just teach hoarding. Teach smart saving balanced with purposeful spending. Teach that money is a tool for creating the life you want, not just an end in itself.
That's such an important distinction. And maybe include a unit on giving, teaching kids that part of financial success is using money to help others.
I love that. So the business is financial literacy coaching. Master money basics yourself, teach others through coaching and workshops, create practical tools and resources, and emphasize that money is a tool for creating a purposeful life.
And remember Hetty's lesson. Discipline and patience build wealth, but don't let fear control your relationship with money. Be smart, not obsessed.
Perfect. Okay, who's going to start a financial literacy coaching business? Let us know.
All right, everyone, that's episode 20 of season 2. We explored Hetty Green's fascinating story, the woman who became the wealthiest in America through smart investing and extreme frugality.
Lesson: financial discipline and patience create wealth. Don't confuse frugality with fear. Be smart but not obsessed. And wealth without purpose is hollow. Money is a tool, not the goal.
And our kid business idea, financial literacy coaching. Master money basics yourself, teach others through coaching and workshops, and help people understand that money is a tool for creating a purposeful life.
And next week is our season finale. We're doing something special, breaking down our top 20 lessons from this season's entrepreneurs and creating a comprehensive guide to becoming a successful entrepreneur using everything we've learned.
I'm so excited for the finale. And here's the thing. We know we've left out so many incredible entrepreneurs. So if you want to see season 3, make sure you comment and follow. We're planning an even bigger season if you want it.
Yes, tell us who you want to hear about in season 3. Comment on our videos, send us messages, let us know.
Thanks for being here, Lily. Just one more episode.
Thanks, Tallie. This season has been incredible.
And thank you for listening. If you loved this episode, share it, rate it, review it, and let us know who you want to hear about in season 3.
Because financial discipline builds wealth, but purpose makes it meaningful.
See you next week for our season finale on Tallie Talks. Peace out.